Hello and welcome to your August 6th daily briefing. We have some more good news today, and we have some promising updates on the next stimulus check, the next stimulus bill, and a potential solution for unemployment benefits. So in this video, I'm going to start by talking about the news, and then I'm going to end by chatting about a potential solution for all this back and forth debate on the next stimulus bill. So jumping right into the news, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell predicted this morning that Democrats and Republicans will reach a deal on the next stimulus aid package in the very near future. Here's the exact quote from him. "Exactly when that deal comes together, I couldn't tell you, but I think it will at some point in the near future. There is a desire on the part of both the Democrats and the Republicans, at least most of the Republicans, not every single one, that we get an outcome because the economy does need an additional boost until we get the vaccine." So I find it very interesting that McConnell is so in support of providing aid despite the issue dividing many Republican members. I mean, there could be several reasons. It could be just simply the increase in virus cases. He sees the need. It could be research done by economists and he sees the need. Or it could be to increase his public favor. We don't really know exactly what is driving these decisions, or it could be a combination of all of those or something else altogether. Whatever it may be, I think it's just fascinating to go from let's wait and see, maybe we will, maybe we won't, to let's get this done as soon as possible and with Democratic support if we have to. So McConnell has made it very apparent that he does not agree with the 20 or so Senate Republicans who believe Congress shouldn't pass any additional aid. The argument that these fiscally conservative senators bring up is that nearly $1 trillion of the CARES Act hasn't even been spent yet, and if we pass more funding, this is just asking future generations to pay off even more of our current expenses. With this, I see their logic, but I don't understand the choice to not support a Republican bill or Republican stimulus ideas, and here's why. Because McConnell has a low amount of Senate Republican support, he's going to have to use Democratic senators to pass any bill in the Senate, and this means adopting more Democratic stimulus plans, which means even more funding and an even larger deficit. So the fiscally conservative senators who don't want to vote in more stimulus because of the deficit are actually creating the secondary consequence of generating even more of what they don't want. Either way, a stimulus bill is going to be passed, whether it's with or without fiscally conservative senator support. So the logical thing to do would be to side with the Republican stimulus plans and accept some debt versus not voting for anything and resulting in even more debt. Because here's what's happening. Many Democrats are back to wanting the $600 per week unemployment benefit. Despite in the past having said they actually don't need the full $600, they've kind of gone back and said, you know what, actually we're going to hold strong at $600 again because they know that they have the leverage right now. They know that they have the power. Obviously in the House they have the majority, and in the Senate, right now they pretty much have the majority for this issue because we know about 20 or so Republican senators aren't going to vote for any stimulus bill whatsoever. Republicans, on the other hand, outlined a plan that would offer 70% wage replacement to combat the issue of people making more on unemployment than they did at work, which is cited as the #1 issue with the $600 per week payment amount. And that 70% wage replacement idea isn't fixed at 70%. Many Republicans have said they are open to a variety of different wage replacement avenues. There was the 2/3 option, there was an 80% option, and even 100% replacement. 100% wage replacement is a very fair stimulus plan. I know if I lost my job, I would have zero complaints getting 100% of my previous wage, even if that means it is indeed less than $600 per week. So what I'm getting at with all this is most of the legislators recognize the need for support for Americans who are still struggling. This virus isn't going anywhere anytime soon, it doesn't seem. There is still support needed. Pretty much everyone realizes that. And there are many fair proposals in place. However, things are largely at a standstill because of ego and power trips on both sides. I've said this the last week or so. It doesn't seem like anyone is really innocent on this. No one is really budging whatsoever, and we all have to pay for it by waiting and hearing this drama every single day. It's a little bit frustrating. So one potential solution I've read a little bit about is Democrats may be willing to lower their $600 per week threshold to a smaller amount if that same funding is given proportionally to all Americans. And this could actually make a lot of sense, and I'll explain why. But first, let's take a step back just for a second and think about this logically. The issue Republicans have with $600 unemployment, again, is the disincentive it creates to find a job or to get off of unemployment. This is really hard to argue with. So let's look at this how an economist would look at it. Studies have shown that nearly 2/3 of people on enhanced unemployment who received that $600 per week enhanced payment made more on unemployment than they did at work. 2/3 of people on the program. The goal was about 50% because the $600 payment was based off of what the average American makes. So by default, 50% of people were going to make more, 50% were going to make less on unemployment. Well, it ended up to be 2/3 because of the payment size. So an economist would say it's actually illogical to go off of unemployment if this is the scenario for you where you're making more on unemployment than at work. You're making more money and it takes less of your resources, aka your energy and your time, to be on unemployment than to go to a job. So you should remain on unemployment logically. Republicans are suggesting wage replacement, which is a perfectly fair solution. However, it may be pretty tricky to handle that administratively. Many states say this could take 6 to 9 months to administer anything like that. We don't really know exactly once the pressure is on, once the heat is on, how long it would actually take, but we know their systems are outdated and it wouldn't be easy no matter what. So there are some ideas in place to combat that percentage issue and the calculation issue, but it's still tricky nevertheless. And here is a quote from, again, McConnell, who pretty much sums up how Republicans feel about the $600 a week payment. And don't worry, this is getting somewhere. I think we should not continue the process of paying some people more not to work than to work. I do think we need to adjust whatever unemployment compensation bonus there is to reflect that it's not fair for your neighbor to stay home and make more money and you go back to work and make less. So back to the proposed solution to all of this that makes a lot of sense. Democrats have the upper hand here, but they've revealed that more than $600 per week, they just want money to the people. Republicans want money to the people, but they just don't want $600 per week if it's unfair to the working people. We know Republicans want the stimulus check. There's other plans that get money to the people. We know that they want to do unemployment, just not at $600. The solution is lower the unemployment to either a smaller flat dollar amount or percentage based and give the remaining amount to all eligible Americans in the form of a direct stimulus payment. If the money is going to have to be spent either way, this is the most fair way to do it, and it appeases both sides according to all the public information that I can find on it. So let's do some math here. And this next part is going to be quite number heavy, so I'm going to explain it the best I can, but just hang in with me for the next minute, and I promise it's going to pay off. All right, there are 9 million people who received the $600 per week enhanced unemployment payment. The average month has 4.34 weeks. So 9 million times $600, that payment amount, times 4.34 equals $23.4 billion a month to fund this program. If $600 unemployment was extended through the end of the year, that would be a total cost of $117.2 billion. Now, if we compare this to if unemployment was lowered to $400 per week, the total cost of that would be $78.1 billion. So $117.2 billion minus the new $400 per week expense of $78.1 billion equals $39.1 billion that could be spread to all Americans via stimulus checks. And 159 million people received the last stimulus check, so that means A reduction of unemployment to $400 per week would mean the difference between a $1,200 stimulus check and a $1,445 stimulus check. 20% more stimulus for everyone, and a more fair system. There are, of course, a few variables with this, like the 9 million people on unemployment would likely decrease in the next 5 months, but this is more of an estimate as to just the magnitude of what this could mean stimulus-wise. Could be slightly more fair and appease both sides. So anyways, I hope this video helped to show that there are potential solutions to these issues at hand, and this is very well one of the solutions we might see in an upcoming stimulus package. Until next time, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I hope you have a profitable day.